last time you'd ever see that person. It's not about the macabre of thinking that. It's actually about the joy and the glory of knowing that what we need to do right now. So I think that for me, the excitement, the joy of my journey has been watching and seeing and knowing that every single day, right now, my purpose in life and what has become my purpose in life, of course, is, apart from just making a difference, is significant in the whole food arena. Because every single day, we all know that food goes to waste. By listening to us, to me today, you've actually all become emissaries. You've become part of the OzHarvest family, because each and every one of you go to fruit and veggie stores, you walk into supermarkets, you walk into coffee shops, and I'm going to actually teach you how to approach them, because I had a bunch of volunteers who one time heard me speak, and they called the next day and said, we heard you, and so what we did is I've been into my coffee shop, and I went and said to them, I know you've got waste, so you must call OzHarvest. I said, well, let me teach you how to do this. You have to go up to the owner of the coffee shop or the owner of the fruit and veggie store and say, you probably never have waste because you run such an efficient, professional, lean, mean business. But in the event if you had waste, do you know about OzHarvest? And would you give them a call if you did? And I promise you, we get calls the next day from those efficient, lean and mean businesses. Because quite honestly, if you're in the food industry, there is no such thing. Because, well, that's not true. Funnily enough, restaurants, people actually love to think that we collect a lot of food from restaurants. Restaurants is the least place that we get food from, because restaurants can manage their waste. They know early on in an evening or in a day if people are coming in to eat at them that night. So restaurants, what we get restaurants to do is endorse us, we get the chefs to endorse us and to share our message. And of course, if they have events in their restaurants, then they will always call us. The bulk of our food comes from supermarkets. Do any of you ever shop at Coles? Yes? Coles doesn't give us any food. Woolworths and Aldi do. So if you want to do your shopping, you should think about do cause-related shopping. Shop where they give excess food. For some reason, you can't get through to Coles. I keep getting that Coles are looking at a sustainable national plan. There isn't a national solution. There isn't an organization that works nationally to collect excess food. OzHarvest is the only organization that does what we do. There are many professionally, daily, in the way that we do it. There are many organizations who might collect from one place. There are many who might collect once a week or once a month. But there is nobody that goes out every single day collecting leftover food from delis and takeaways and hotels and boardrooms and film shoots and convention centers and from wherever you can think of, manufacturers, producers, TAFEs, you know, MasterChef. Any of you ever watched MasterChef? Yeah. Okay, so not long ago there was a letter in the paper saying, I watched MasterChef last week, and what an appalling show. They had 50 salmon on that show that week, and what a waste. Why doesn't somebody do something about rescuing or, you know, making sure that that food gets saved? I won't watch that show again. Anyway, the next day there was a letter from me in the paper saying the 50 salmon that you saw on MasterChef within an hour of the filming ending were picked up by OzHarvest and delivered to 8 different organizations. I said, actually, I noticed that your letter comes from Randwick, a suburb in Sydney, and our office is Alexandria, which is probably 3 kilometers from your home. Why don't you come and rescue food with us instead of writing letters? I'm a bit cheeky that way. But anyway, the point is that I want to give you just a little adjunct to that story. Was the very next day, one of the recipient agencies that we delivered the food to called and said, Ronni, I have a story for you. She said, we served the fish, and one of my people came up to me, one of our recipients, and said, Ronni, Marjorie, I think the fish is off and we shouldn't be eating it. And she said, well, I'd like to share with you that fish was bought from the fish market first thing in the morning, taken to the master chef kitchen and kept in refrigeration. Picked up by OzHarvest an hour after filming by their trained professional drivers in a refrigerated van and brought to us, and we have cooked it and served it. Why do you think it's off? And she said, because it's pink. So, food is not just about filling tummies. Food is about nutrition, but not just about nutrition. Food is about sharing and caring and respect and dignity and community. I am sure that each and every one of you, when you want to celebrate or mark a special time in your lives, it's done around food. And one of the consistent messages we get back from the people who we deliver our food to is, thank you for caring, thank you for sharing, thank you for giving us an opportunity to eat the kind of food that we could never eat. This week, one of the agencies, and then I'm going to ask Dave just to give us some examples of the places that, so that you can relate to, that he delivers to here. But this week, we got a letter from Odyssey House, which is one of the agencies we deliver to in Sydney. And they said that since we have been supplying them food, they have saved 80% of their food budget. Their food budget was $6 a day to feed a person, 3 meals. That since receiving our food, they have managed to save their food budget and redirect it to other programs. That's the kind of message we keep getting. So not only are we providing great quality food, and when the van arrives, I have to tell you, it's a little bit like Father Christmas, because even though we know that every single day we collect food, we don't know when we're going to get 6,000 pallets of ice cream. We don't know when we're going to get 17,000 bars of Swiss chocolate. I'm only giving you like the yummy ones. We don't know when we'll get the Lindt chocolate cakes, and that's when there's a bit of a bun fight. See, among the staff, not to mention the recipients. We don't know when we'll get a whole goat. Luckily, we took it to an agency who knew what to do with it. The truth is that our drivers are really the most crucial piece of our organization. Our drivers, first of all, are trained in safe food handling, but they actually are the face of our organization, because they go to the recipients and get the food donors. We have over 1,000 food donors, and then they arrive at the agency, and we're really a transport and logistics company. We just pick up for free, deliver for free, and our food has to be given away for free. So our drivers will arrive at an agency and they open the door, and they'll know if the next agency they're going to has got kids, that they might leave the yogurts and the puree and the strawberries for the kids agency and offer something else to an agency that has something else. So they are absolutely crucial in our organization. But I mentioned to you that Lynn Fox has come on board, and one of the things, apart from giving us money, and money is incredibly important, every dollar that we raise allows us to deliver a meal to someone in need. So my glass of wine that probably costs $7 is 7 meals to 7 disadvantaged Australians.
It's only $1.50.
Oh, thank God, I feel so much better.
I wouldn't drink it though.
I can't waste it, I've got to drink it. I'm always grateful when I talk to people either after they've eaten or not when they're eating, because they suddenly start thinking, oh, maybe we shouldn't eat our food. OzHarvest never collects food that's on your plate. It's what hasn't come out of the kitchen, and it's not what's left on your plate. It's the food that hasn't been touched. I was telling you about Lynn Fox. So Lynn Fox came in and offered us their logistics and head of logistics to come and look at our operation. And even he was flummoxed. He said, I have to tell you, we run a logistics business, and our trucks leave our office and they go to one place and then they go to the next. what happens to our drivers is, and our logistics person, you're looking at him here in Canberra, is what happens is that we have a set route, but every day, during the day, the 6,000 pallets of ice cream will need to be collected, or people call us from wherever, because that's when there's unexpected overages. So we're not only just running a business, we also have to manage what's getting hit at us. We get probably 40, we call them ad hocs, 40 unexpected calls during the day that have to be slotted into the drivers who are going somewhere. So I guess we do run quite a tight and lean organization. But let's get back to talking about the problems we have in the world, and 2 billion more people going to be on the planet by the year 2050. What are we going to do? No, I'm serious. I'm asking. I mean, I put a call in today to UNHCR because I figured I wanted to have a brainstorm with them to think if there's anything we can do. We know that it's easy, according to the UN World Food Bank, for 10 cents the world can produce. We have the technology to produce a meal in a vacuum-packed bag that doesn't spoil, that doesn't have dairy in it, but has every single component that we need nutritionally to provide a healthy meal for a child or an adult. So at 10 cents a bag, we know that we can produce it. You know, there's something not right in the world when we live here and we're collecting 3 million tons of food that would otherwise have gone to waste, and at least we're redistributing it. And I always get upset when people tell me that they fly to Vietnam to build orphanages in Cambodia, and I think that's really important. But we know that we have a population here that is seriously discriminated against and seriously has major issues, and unless we ourselves start addressing our local and internal problems. So I know that I can't take our 3 million tons of food and send them to Africa, but I'm sure there is something we can do, so we are talking to them to see what we can do. But can I open the floor? Do you want to ask me questions? Do you want to, let's brainstorm? Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Africa.
Yeah.
I suppose United Nations, who put people in categories as to whether they're, well, the extreme poverty category are people who earn less than $1.25 American a day.
Yeah.
In sub-Saharan Africa, there are 3 million additional people added every year.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years, there's been more than 30 million people added to that category in sub-Saharan Africa. What should we be doing about it? Nothing, or talking about it?
Beg your pardon?
Why is it our problem? Isn't this whole kind of disconnection from people and place and our ability to live within limits and their ability to live within limits part of the problem?
Well, what if I had thought it's not my problem to rescue food, because
No.
I've got food on my table,
Yeah.
and the fact that there are 105,000 people who sleep rough in Australia, according to the census 6 years ago. During the 6 years, we know that that figure is not 105,000 anymore. It's likely to be 135,000. So I think it is our problem.
So my challenge is I live in communities of people where charities won't even go into anymore because of the nature of, you know, Sudanese refugees, drug addicted Aboriginal people, etc., etc. Like, I think we've got enough challenges locally, and I would contest that the local problems are also the international problems, that the whole kind of localisation and us growing our own food, and what you were saying before, like being connected to people and place and, you know, ceremony and celebration around food and around growing the food as well as cooking the food and sharing the surplus from a permaculture sort of point of view. I mean, yeah, like, you know, perhaps your model could be something that, you know, could, you know, maybe you could partner with somebody in Africa.
No, I mean, we're certainly looking and are willing and open and have